the chair for the Guam Power Authority, among other things. Senator, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Is there?
Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
Right on. There
Good
you are.
morning.
Okay. Well, welcome to the link. So I don't know if you'd heard, there was a little something going on up there in the Sasadzan area, the Marbo Cave area, relative to a solar farm, a GPA, I believe it's a subcontract. So we haven't had you in the convo, so we'll just, I guess, start there with your reaction to all of this news recently.
Yeah, it's what a shame. You know, what a shame. It's really sad. I know there's a lot of, I believe there's a lot of good people at the Guam EPA and at DPW. I know Nick Rupley Lee, I've spoken to him many times. I think he's a good guy who genuinely wants to help the island. I know there's other good people at Guam EPA. However, I have to agree with Senator Brown, who I heard on the show earlier, in saying that the regulatory agencies dropped the ball. Absolutely. There's no excuse for that. You got to follow up and ensure that the private company is doing what they're supposed to do. That's the job of the regulatory agency, is to regulate. And the regulatory agencies dropped the ball in this case. But at the same time, I do also definitely hold the private company accountable. I think both are to blame. We can't just blame the regulatory agencies for dropping the ball. We got to also blame the private company who put the plan out in the first place and said, hey, this is our plan. We're going to put up X number of ponding basins to prevent flooding, and then simply didn't follow the plan. The private company knew what they were supposed to do. They didn't do it. Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, I'm just, you had me at, you agreed with Senator Joanne Brown, so I got to write that down. Well, Bree?
No, I just wanted to go back because this particular contractor, the overall contractor at Capco, I want to say that this is a company that you kind of took issue with
yeah,
in the past.
Absolutely. I can talk about that. So Capco is the same company that was in charge of the Cannabis power plant when it exploded, and they got sued for it. Now, I know GPA, the CCU, and PUC are quick to often say, oh, no, that was KEWP, Korea East-West Power. But if you look up Korea East-West Power and Capco, KEWP is a direct subsidiary of Capco. They are just an arm of Capco. So it's the same thing. It's the same company. However you want to say it, yeah, it's a subsidiary, whatever. It's the same company. Capco is the parent company. KEWP is a subsidiary of that company. They're the ones who were in charge of the Cannabis power plant when it exploded, and they got sued for it. And at the same time, what got me really interested in all of this this company is when I was against the construction of the Ukudu, what they're now calling the Ukudu power plant. That's the 200 megawatts they're supposed to build over near the Two Lovers Point, sort of Harmon Cliffline area that they're calling Ukudu area, near GRMC. That company, when I looked into it back last term, when I was looking into that whole contract, one of the reasons I was against that contract being awarded in the first place was because I found out it was the same company who was in charge of the Cannabis power plant when it blew up. The CCU and the PUC charged ahead and went ahead and awarded that company 200 megawatts worth of power construction contract for the Ukudu power plant. And then now they're also the same company who got awarded this huge multi-million-dollar contract for the solar farm in Manilao, the solar farm that is responsible for the flooding and the muddying of the waters down at the Marbo Caves.
And just so people are aware, that's a $200 million solar farm project, and the Ukudu is a $650 million.
Yeah, so we're looking at...
I think it's more, 600 is the initial cost, but if you look at the terms of that Ukudu contract, it is worth over $3 billion over the life of the contract, because it's like a 30-year contract, I believe. Wow. So you look at it, it's actually worth $3 billion in today's dollars, so that doesn't count for inflation either.
So that makes $125,000 fine from Guam EPA literally chump change.
Exactly. Slap on the wrist.
Less than not even a lick on the ear.
Yeah.
So Senator Sabina Perez, she was on the air yesterday, and she was talking about that whole cap, the $125,000 max penalty that you can issue. And she did mention the possibility of holding a joint oversight hearing.
Yeah, I've been talking to her about that over the weekend. We had some discussions. We're figuring out how to proceed with that, but we definitely both want to hold some sort of oversight hearings to hold all the agencies responsible accountable.
And in terms of holding a GPA accountable, I guess what would be your main concerns that you plan to
Well, of
bring?
course, that they hired the same company that was sued for blowing up the power plant. That's number one. I mean, it's like if you hire someone to fix your car engine, and then because they fixed it in a way that they didn't fix it, and instead they made it worse and the car engine blew up, would you hire them to fix your next car? I don't think so. So it's the same simple logic for me here. Why are we hiring the same company? And if you just Google Capco, you'll see that they're no stranger to controversy. In fact, there's lots of articles about problems they've had in other countries where they do business, in Korea and in Japan, for example. There's bribery allegations in other countries. Just look it up. There's tons of articles. I can send you guys all the links to, KOM, the link. I can send you guys the links to all these articles. There's a lot of articles about scandals and controversies this company's been involved with abroad.
I wanted to... Go ahead.
I mean, for me, it's just, fool me once by blowing up a power plant, shame on you. Fool me twice by turning an ancient, pristine, clear water cave system into a mud pit, shame on GPA, the CCU, and the PUC. Shame.
I wanted to follow up then on something that I had heard, that you were one of the people that actually kind of brought this to Guam EPA's attention in terms of what was happening down there with the flooding. And I don't know if it was something that you'd actually been down there, or it was just concerns from constituents.
No, I was emailed from some of the landowners in the area. Some of the landowners in the area sent me an email asking me to look into it because it's a GPA project. One of the landowners is Mr. Nelson. He sent me an email along with it was like an email chain, and that I think you guys even saw those pictures. I think you guys, I saw it on your news. So those were the initial pictures before we knew that Marbo was flooded with mud. It was just showing some of the trails and the other roadways and areas that are kind of all washed out that the other landowners in the area used. And so they're the ones who alerted me to it. I forwarded it immediately to EPA, and I believe I sent it to DPW and GPA as well, if I'm not mistaken. But I know I sent it to EPA. I have to double check who else I CC'd on the email. But I think I also sent it to GPA, and yeah, I did send it to GPA and DPW as well.
Yeah, it kind of all just ramped up really quick. I know we did the story first because we just received the initial pictures, which probably is the same pictures you received last week, Tuesday, I think it was. And then by Wednesday or Thursday, it was the Marbo Cave pictures came out. And you're right. Then the notice of violation was issued before the end of the week. So, yeah, thanks for sending that over to Guam EPA. I know that there was...
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
I'm glad they were eventually able to look into it, and I'm glad that they were able to issue an NOV so quickly. It's just a shame, as you were mentioning, the cap on the NOV. So I do support Senator Sabina and Senator and Speaker Teresa's bill that they put out to eliminate that cap. So I support that. In fact, I asked Senator Sabina the other day, add me on as a co-sponsor. I definitely support removing that cap.
I know... Chris, you wanted to ask about the situation with the LEAC.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks, that situation. 55% increase, Senator?
Yeah. Again, what a shame. I mean, it's just, this is why I've been pushing for renewable energy. And it's sad that one of the renewable energy projects was so mishandled that it actually caused environmental damage. That's one reason why one of my major pushes has been to put solar on rooftops. Let's start there first before we start clearing land. Let's put as much as we can on rooftops. In fact, we had a bill last term in the legislature to put solar on the rooftops of all the public schools. That got shot down by GPA, the CCU, and the PUC again. In fact, what their excuse was, it would cause an increase in power rates, because their argument was that, oh, they're going to lose money from GDOE, one of their largest customers, and so they're going to have to shift the cost elsewhere and charge everyone else more money for our power rates. And I told in another media company that asked me a question, what were my thoughts about their excuse for claiming that that bill would raise power rates, and I'll repeat my answer. My answer was, there's only 3 things that we know for sure raise power rates: the cost of oil, the CCU, and the PUC. And again, all 3 of those have joined forces, so to speak, to raise power rates again. And so a big reason why I'm for renewable energy is so that we can eliminate this cost of fuel. That's precisely the reason they're going to raise power rates by, what is it, 30%? It's because of fuel. That's what the LEAC is.
Yeah.
The LEAC is the fuel charge. It's the cost of oil. And so as we see the cost of oil continue to rise, and all the projections show it will continue to rise, it'll go up and down here and there, but over the long term, it's just going to go up. So the answer to that is to eliminate the use of fuel. And I think even GM Beneventi said it in the interview on your in one of your news stories recently. He was citing how much money we spend on oil and how much we can save by not spending that money on oil, and how these renewable projects will save that money. Well, I'm glad they're finally starting to see that, and I'm encouraging them to continue to push for renewable energy. But let's get these renewable energy sources on our rooftops.
All right. Since we do have you on the air, I wanted to ask, if, have you heard anything new? I mean, what's going on with the cannabis rules and regs? I think we had Attorney Vanessa Williams on a couple of weeks ago, I believe, regarding I think the AG had some concerns or something.
My understanding, there's a lot of back and forth with the AG's office in their review, and as well as the Cannabis Control Board. So last I heard, it's at the AG's office, and so I'm hoping the AG's office can wrap up their review as quick as possible. And you know, if they have any comments, get it to the Cannabis Control Board immediately so they can address whatever concerns they may have, and let's get this thing going.
Yeah, I did a story on it, and the CCB chair, Attorney Vanessa Williams, had said that a lot of the changes were kind of like technical, meaning let's go put this section over here with this section because it makes it more readable. So I don't know if there's anything like really substantive or content-wise that was being changed. It seemed more like they were just collating,
cleaning it up,
yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. I don't know if there's too much anything substantial either. So I'm just hoping that they get it done as quickly as possible. From the Cannabis Control Board members I've spoken to, they're ready. They're like, just tell us what we need to fix. We'll fix it as quickly as possible so we can get this thing going.
Yeah, it just seems like it's been taking a long time. Like I would have thought we would have been
yeah,
further.
it's taken way too long.
Yeah.
It's just taken way too long. Absolutely.
Now we just got
we need to roll out this program as soon as possible.
And we just got the news that Saipan has a couple of their dispensaries open already.
Yeah, I follow them on Saipan Select is one of them. I follow on Instagram, and they got some others. I'm totally following what's going on in Saipan, and kudos to them. They did pass their law before us, but still, that's no excuse. We should have had this thing going by now. So I'm encouraging the AG's office and the Cannabis Control Board to finish up what they're doing. And just so all of you know, believe me, I'm the #1 person bugging them almost every week. I think they're tired of hearing from me. I call both the AG and the Cannabis Control Board constantly for updates.
All right, I guess before we let you go, because I know that you were one of the 15 senators who had signed your name onto that ARP spending plan that you guys had submitted to the governor. We haven't heard much about the spending plan, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on this whole clamoring for Adaloop's plan, and then also maybe if you could just in closing talk about how is it problematic in trying to hammer out a budget when you don't have a clear picture of how much ARP money is involved with.
Yeah, really. So okay, so we do want to see the ARP. Obviously, absolutely, we'd love to know what the governor's plan is for spending the ARP, and the sooner the better. However, this whole argument that we can't pass a budget until we see the plan is just false, because we shouldn't be budgeting like there's this ARP money. We should just budget like we normally budget. The ARP is extra money. In fact, the ARP money should not go towards operations whatsoever, because the ARP money is a one-time deal. We're not going to get it again. So if we raise operation levels based on ARP funding, we're not going to see it again. In other words, we shouldn't be hiring people with ARP money. We shouldn't be filling positions or vacancies with ARP money. We shouldn't be paying for any government operations with ARP money. ARP money should go towards capital improvement projects, towards building things, towards buying equipment, and other things of that nature. So if we pass the budget based on revenue projections, what the ARP money is for, it can be used for, is replacing any revenues that fall short due to the pandemic. That's precisely what's allowed in the ARP. So we should pass the budget based on our revenue projections. If the revenues fall short, then it's incumbent on the governor to use the ARP money to make up for those revenue shortfalls.
I noticed you didn't say anything about direct assistance payments.
You're talking about the rise?
Oh, yeah, what are your thoughts on that whole?
Yeah, pay it out. Pay out the rise. Pay everyone.
Oh, there you go. Good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Senator, for coming on.
Let us know when the oversight hearing's going to be.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let you guys
That's
know.
going to be
Yeah.
a hot one because I feel like the relationship with you and GPA it's been kind of a little contentious. So it's definitely going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I want to work with GPA as best as possible, but it's just, hey, when there's things we disagree upon, there's things we disagree upon, and this company, Capco, is a major one. I mean, I was out there fighting it, and they were saying I didn't know what I was talking about, and I don't know anything about this company, and this company's got all this money, they do all these projects, and do you even know how great this company is? Well, look how great this company is now.
Mic drop.
That was like the third mic drop of this interview.
I know. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator.
Thanks, Senator.
Thank you.
Right on. Senator Clynt Ridgell, GPA Oversight, 924. Let's keep it going in the KUAM News Zoom room. We're putting on our public health hat now. We have the Chief Public Health Officer for the island of Guam.